Good Tuesday morning. It is the 2nd of September, 2025. Cannot believe we're into the last 4 months of the year. I hope you're having an awesome week. Weather has just been phenomenal. If you've been outside enjoying the weather, it's been great. We do need rain, obviously, as things are really drying out. It was nice to get a break from having to mow my grass so much, but yeah, we do need the water now for sure. And so hopefully Thursday we'll see some showers. Maybe a few showers on Saturday, but I'm not really thinking that's going to be very much of a washout. It's just a few showers in the afternoon. We will kind of warm up. So, look for highs in the upper 70s today, into the 80s the next couple of days. Actually, the next 3 days. We can see 80-degree temperatures or hotter. And then we'll cool down a little bit next week. And we'll look at the long term, which I think we will see a warm up, coming. So I don't think it's going to stay. But this is a really cold shot. Instead of being a trajectory right over top of us like was expected this weekend, it's first going down in the Midwest, so we're going to get kind of the brushed by the cooler air, which has been pretty much what we've been experiencing anyway as far as temperature-wise. But initially, it brings in southerly winds, and that's why we're warming up a little bit from the temperatures we have seen, because winds will not be all from the north, but we'll get some southerly winds, especially starting the next 2 days. As we see this front approaching, winds are kind of moving in this direction from the southwest to northeast. So this is all the way into Thursday. This is a really cold pull, bringing even some snow showers and stuff into the UP of Michigan and the border states here. And so, yeah, this is a cold pull. Like I said, originally this was kind of forecast to go this direction, and now it's going to be pulling this direction and kind of northeast on the back of this low. So, yeah, we'd eventually get the cooler air, but it takes a little longer for it to get here. So because of that, we now get southerly winds, and this is where I'm hoping to get the showers. This is a front. This is all the way out in the Thursday already. And that's when the front comes through. But that front doesn't immediately bring any cool air. It's this secondary front later on Saturday. And that's why you see a lot of wind here. This is going to be a strong, cool air mass for this region, feeling more wintry than early fall. But this is on Saturday. This is where the few extra showers come in because the front comes through. And finally, that does reinforce some of the cooler air with the high to our west. We get the northerly wind flow in here. So, that's why on Saturday we get down to the 70s versus we were up in the 80s for a few days. The 70s will stick around. You can see the high pressure. But you also see it getting a little interesting here as the side moves and things start to shift. We should see eventually, it's taken it a bit of time, things change. And so we got to hope. This has been in the forecast for a while that it's not that, this is how it was forecast on the long range. It just shows that there's a potential for maybe some unsettled weather coming in into around the 9th or 10th. This is a warm front moving north. It's just going to bring warmer, moist air and hopefully some rain. This is a very fall-like looking type of weather system here. Got to hope that brings some good rain for us and develops a low pressure. We'll have to see. Still, this high is trying to push the cool air down, so it's not going to be really hot or anything for a bit, and this looks just unsettled. I don't know how well these models are going to show. This is cold air damming, cooling us down in the long range, so even though we may warm up for a bit, we definitely have some cool air trying to stick around. Now, this looks in the very, very long range like eventually things are going to warm up, but this is so far off, who knows. All right, the best way to tell, what's going on in the upper atmosphere as far as predictions go, and again, this is just model forecast. This is not the actual forecast. So you have to see it. So here we are socked in with this cooler air mass in the upper levels. That's why it's been getting really chilly at night. You see it holding on, but maybe not as strong over the next few days, and that's why the temperatures are now going to pop up into the 80s. But here's that really cold pool. By Thursday, you see it diving. Again, this is where it's going to turn our winds out of the southwest, which will be a little warmer for us. This is a very anomalously cold air mass. We're looking, 15, 20 degrees below normal. That's freezing temperatures for sure for them at night. Strong winds, and it gets reinforced in a secondary shot. And look, we've warmed up here above normal as we go into the weekend, and it's not until that front comes through that boom, it knocks our temperatures back down, and that's when the cooler air just skirts us again for the weekend. Now here's that upper level, kind of low pressure that's potentially causing some unsettledness and some of the cool air trying to dam up east of the mountains, try to keep us kind of cooler than it could be. But you do see that the anomalies are definitely growing. Temperatures are warmer, and that's why we're seeing the warmer temperatures, I said, in the long range. But because of cloudiness and stuff, maybe it won't be as warm as it could be. And then maybe some reinforcing shots of cooler air because of the oceanic influence later. This, though, just speaks that eventually we're going to really warm up for a brief period of time at least. And the long range is the front, and the cold quarters out west. But this has been delayed quite a bit. So not like a scorching torch, into the east, but maybe, some above normal temperatures. But now we're getting to the point where a few degrees above normal is not so unbearable because of the time of year. All right, so let's look at what the precipitation looks like over the next week. Not super wet for us as we get local here. This is the Weather Prediction Center's outlook for us for precipitation. And if we go through the next 7 days, we're only talking maybe a quarter to a half an inch or so in the region. That's not going to cut it for avoiding drought situations, so something we're definitely going to have to work on. And a tropical system or something could really help us. In the 6 to 10, we really remain below normal, which is kind of what we're seeing, and that's with that low and the colder air. Although I do think a few days of warmer air this week will help a little bit. And that cool air is going to have a hard time, eroding and getting out of here. And like I said, it would be the really long term before this air could potentially move east. But that was that warm up. We could see it on the forecast models as we were doing the progression in the upper levels. And there was definitely a huge warm up here in the east, and then they're projecting that low or some kind of influence off the ocean here to keep us cool. But look at the precip amounts. We're below normal. It's terrible news. And in 8 to 14 days, maybe near normal. We need the rain. It's not very helpful for potential drought. All right, this is a long outlook. I hope you have an awesome Tuesday and awesome rest of your week. You're being your Loudoun County Weather Outlook.